People keep saying to reboot your OCs. Okay, where did I put that button? Oh, here it is. Boop. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. What do you mean nothing to reboot? I have some stuff. I have Google Docs, and I have some drawings here and there. I mean, it's sparse, but it's there. Yeah, but 90% of it is in your head. To reboot something, one needs something to be rebooted from. And nothing has been posted, you dum-dum. You can't reboot something that doesn't exist. Okay, that's fair, I suppose. As of late, I've been watching a lot of OC videos and rewatching the same ones on loop because I space out, and sometimes I watch two space out, if that makes sense. And I thought, why the fuck not? I can do this. A fan artist can totally transition to original art, can't they? Can't they? Okay, so this definitely isn't the content you guys will remember. This year I'm going for a bit of a rebrand. No, this doesn't mean Steven Universe content is dead. I made a whole Garnet Eat It Back for Star's sake. That ship will never stop sailing. If it goes down, I will go down with it like a Viking. So many cool as hell indie cartoons are popping up, more artists are introducing themselves, and I just really want to join in the fun and yap about my own story. But first I kind of have to make one. So... Hi there, Assalamualaikum, mera naam Burga hai, and I'll be your artist for the next couple minutes. I don't usually post original art content, but honestly, I want to try it out. If I'm ever going to make my own cartoon or webcomic, I need my own story to tell, do I not? I'm hoping by the time I actually finish this, I have a title. I wrote this in oh god, when did I even write this? I wrote this in January, it is July. I don't have a title. January 1st, 2026. I decided it was a new year, hence a new me as an artist. I'd seen how the awesome Actually Ray always went for a sketchbook first before they did anything digitally when tackling a project. I remember them saying about how it was more freeing and relaxing. So I picked up my sketchbook and my highlighters and thought, why not? I'll give that a whirl. And oh my god, were they right. I went insane, guys. First few days of the year and I was already losing my shit. I got a Milanote, I actually designed some shit, and I feel like I really got a story on my hands. Before I can actually get on with the reboot, I may have to give y'all some context on what exactly I'm rebooting. A few years ago, I made my first OCs. They are all nameless. Oh no, they're not all nameless anymore. I gave a few of them names. The main character still doesn't have a name. And I've decided that this is basically a reboot of them, so I can join in the reboot fun. It definitely counts. As the years went by, I started a fantasy/sci-fi story where the main characters were essentially perceived as the villains. I thought it'd be really cool to have the main characters be seen as evil by their society and play into that role publicly. But a more accurate word for them would be vigilantes. Oh, that's not right either. This is out of date. They live in a town/village outside of the main city I dubbed Pana. Oh, am I even gonna keep that? I was originally inspired by Encanto when making this story. The history of that movie is based off of Colombian culture and history, and an important part of that is how the Madrigalabuela had to run away due to war, and they ended up displaced, with the story focusing on the generational trauma. But it also had a lot of nice other aspects to it, such as the magical house, the magical grandkids, and whatnot. It was a fusion between real-life culture and history and fantasy that I really wanted. I initially wanted that for my story because, one, I can't see a single Pakistani Muslim story that is well known and plainly with the times. Quick history lesson so this makes sense. Not that long ago, Pakistan was initially a part of India, or back then the British Indian Empire. It was, and probably still is, a very Islamophobic country back then, and when the partition of India in 1947, yeah, really not that long ago, happened, and they found independence, it split off into Pakistan and India. Hence, the country was born. It was founded to be a refuge of sorts for Muslims who were facing discrimination in India. It's actually in the name. Pakistan can roughly translate to land of the spiritually pure, symbolizing as a homeland for Muslims so they can express their religion freely without discrimination. At first, I had the little village outside Panad be a place you could go to escape the city's corrupt government, and as a rule, if you left, you could never return, because you were seen as betraying your home city. The original story went 3 teens left together and would periodically return to the city to fight the local heroes, aka the Blessed, in hopes of one day beating them into the dirt and re-establish a better government. But every time the Blessed would defeat them, they'd have to go back to their home to recuperate, and it would be like that on repeat. Until a certain guy, with the miraculous ability to see periodic moments into the future, although not of his own accord, suddenly stumbled into their home in the rain, wet, bruised, and looking for some refuge. He is our main character. These guys took him in, and he ended up joining their team, with the ultimate goal of taking down the government of Panah, even if it meant having to get his hands dirty. And every now and then, they would put on a concert for their community to keep spirits up, but that was mostly because I wanted them to sing. I love musicals. So, what have I changed? I mentioned a little town or something on the outskirts of Panah. That's where the main characters live, but not of their own accord anymore. They were once citizens of Panah, but at one point, 3 of the main cast, at different points in their lives, committed some form of crime within Panah using their magical abilities, which flagged them as dangerous by the city. So, they alerted the Blessed, and they were ordered to take these dangerous villains away from Panah. Such power needs to be contained, and should be used in Panah's favor. How so? Well, Panah is currently fighting a decades-old war with monsters that live outside the city. To help defend themselves, the leaders of Panah would fight these monsters during their prime, but they could never fully eradicate them. They seemed drawn to the city for some reason. Either way, the leaders knew that they wouldn't be able to defend the city forever, and these monsters weren't going to wait. They needed to start the next generation sooner rather than later, so by the time they were ready, they could step down. So, the Blessed were born, but their kids' abilities were average at best. No matter how much training they went through, they weren't ever enough. Not enough for the monsters that plagued their city. Research shows there's a special kind of plant, a flower, that has extreme magical properties. Such properties, if ingested, are theorized to enhance a person's powers tenfold. Their parents ingested them when they were young, and so did theirs. It only seemed right to continue the tradition. Hence, the Blessed were born. Through rigorous training and a magical boost, the kids were now heroes. There are the Markor twins, who are both part goat, a gravity bender, or something to that accord. She can manipulate the gravitational pull of any living or non-living thing. The 5th member I'm still working on, but she has a tika that has the ability to summon ancient yet immensely powerful weapons from her ancestors. Then, there's the leader, Sonu, whose dad is of course the mayor, or whatever proper term, of Panah. All parents of the Blessed do run a council that leads the city. However, Sonu's father is considered their leader. Even with supercharged kids, only 5 of them isn't enough. And every now and then, there will be someone who has some ability that's much more immense. So much so, they're flagged in the system. But if they do something wrong, such as question their own perfect government, they're arrested and taken outside Panah to live in this village-sized prison, where they are trained to hone their skills so they can help defend the city against the monsters on the front lines. If somehow the monsters breach this front line, the Blessed take care of them, which is usually broadcasted for the city to cheer them on. Occasionally, the Blessed and our criminals fight side by side to defeat these monsters, but they definitely don't enjoy it. Most of the time, they even end up getting into their own fights even after exhausting themselves with battling monsters that are from time to time 5 times bigger than themselves. Now, there is also a prologue for the main story that I have written for Sonu and our main character, which explains how these two have already known each other for quite some time. The rough explanation goes, our main character receives a vision of him voluntarily running to the prison outside Panah, with bruises all over his body, in the rain, cold, and terrified. But of course, his visions are sparse, short, and frankly, completely unhelpful. They don't give him any deadline for how long he has until this comes true, or how it even happens at all. So he goes to do some further research on the vision, since that's all he can really go off of. Along the way, he meets Sonu, who at the time had been declared missing from the city. But our main character is kind of a dumbass, and doesn't recognize him at first. From there, they go on this wild adventure all around the city, where they discover the ugly truth about their government and why the monsters keep attacking their home. That being, those flowers each generation uses to boost their own powers are the monster's main source of food. They have an inextricable bond to them that goes centuries and centuries into the past, which is why they are constantly charging towards Panah. The council that governs the city, the Blessed, those flowers are in their bloodstream, and the last source of their food, that they know of anyway. Since all of those flowers have been foraged and essentially taken away from them, it's their only hope of survival. So they basically want to eat the kids. At some point during their journey, once the two discover this, Sonu's father found out, and gave our main character two options. Leave his son, the leader of the team that keeps their home safe, alone, and never breathe a word of this to anyone, so he could go home. Or join the cause. And he gave himself up. He couldn't bring himself to leave Sonu, and it was obvious if he tried to spread the word, he'd get arrested anyway. So, he was sent to live with our other main characters, hoping to utilize his ability to get an upper hand in the war, as well as keep him away from the public's eye so he couldn't spread propaganda. Sonu was forced to return to the Blessed as their leader and keep fighting, and the two were inevitably separated. However, every now and then, our Nojumi is able to see Sonu, being able to fight alongside him or train, and hopefully one day find a way to fix what's broken. I find this quite funny. Every time I end up starting a storyboard for an animatic for these characters, I never ever finish them. Except for my Lion Overall animatic. I'm deeply disappointed in how it turned out though, but hey, can't be amazing on the first or fifth try now, can we? While I don't have names for some of the characters, I have titles for our criminals. You can treat them as villain names. The main character is known as the Nujumi, and another one of our criminals, the Chiria, who I'll get into later. I suppose I should talk about these criminals, who like to call themselves the Cursed. There are 3 teens who are above all the strongest and most dangerous criminals from Panah, who are well known for their dangerous nature and crimes. They've all known each other for quite some time, and at some point in the past teamed up together and committed many crimes together, such as robbery, breaking and entering, violence, vandalism, etc., etc. Yes, I know this doesn't align with what I said earlier about them getting arrested at different points in their lives, just go with it. Their leader, is a witch. Witchcraft is heavily looked down on in Islam, and that only left me thinking, but what if someone had no choice, or just went for it anyway? And I got her. Her best work is in potion making. I suppose she's more of an alchemist, if anything. Her original designs actually included a gas mask, because her primary moves in battle would usually include potions and extremely poisonous gas. Or it could be a prank, and if you breathe it in, you could grow bunny ears for like a week. It truly depends on her mood. While she thinks their current situation isn't the best and has a deep hatred for her home, she doesn't initiate the fights between the blessed. She won't hesitate if one does start, though. She's also deeply untrusting, so she's very cautious when our new Nujumi first steps foot. While she doesn't have much say, of course, she can do her best to keep her friends distant from him until she determines just how much they can trust him. Then we have her girlfriend, Athika, who has a deep, strong connection with jinn. If you don't know, in a crude summary, the Muslim version of ghosts. They are said to live in a separate dimension and are free spirits, if you will. They aren't good and they aren't bad. They make their own decisions, etc., etc. They're very much like humans. Athika has the rare ability to see and communicate with them. Her kindness makes jinns comfortable with her. So much so, she can summon them to help her in battle. Jin can shapeshift, so they're very helpful when fighting something that can be fast or exceedingly large. She tries to be kind to those around her, but she is vicious when fighting, whether with video games or a literal battle out front. She loves the Jin like her own family as well. They were there for her when she was all alone and fight for her endlessly. She tries every day to make them happy, and won't take shit from anyone who thinks they're creepy. Not because they're not, but because she sees it as a part of their charm. Finally, we have our bird boy, the Chidia, also known as Nor. They are known for their sassy demeanor and to be the one with an awful pun or some form of quip to say when fighting. Their ability is, well, quite straightforward. They are part bird. Wings, claws, feathers all over their body, and keen eyesight, the whole deal. I suppose when you look at their design, they look more like a harpy. But with such big wings to lug around, it could be quite a bother. So they're able to control just how much of their body can shapeshift into a bird. So they can hide their wings when they don't need them. But they can never look 100% human. If there aren't wings, they'll still have some feathers left or bird feet and vice versa. They additionally love to mess with Barkat, one of the Markor twins, those two are the most likely to start fighting each other. I think it's easy to say Nor is the most confident out of the three and most showboaty. When they're performing songs, they love to soar above the crowd, making dramatic entrances. I hope to one day fully flesh out this story with a full-on script and storyboard and all that stuff, so I can hopefully turn it into a webtoon or a cartoon one day. I think it might be easier to do a webtoon though, since it might be faster for me to publish. I feel like if I keep waiting around, it'll never happen. This video alone took me 7 months. Thank you for listening. I hope my story is at least slightly interesting to you, and I hope you tune into the next one, which will be about designing everyone's magical fighting fits.